All right, Jonathan, this market is insane right now. I mean,
Unlike anything we've seen.
Housing prices are through the roof. I mean, is this a real estate bubble? Should I buy now, or would it be more prudent for me to wait and see if housing prices come back down?
That's the question, isn't it? And, we talked about this when COVID came. We talked about this with all the craziness in the election. And here we are now with, historic low inventory, inflated home prices going through the roof. And we have buyers asking us, should I wait? Are things going to cool down? Are home prices going to come back down? And so we want to shoot another video, Austin, to kind of clear that up.
Sweet. Let's get into it. All right, so Jonathan, break down this chart for me, because this is kind of your brainchild here. What are we looking at, and why is this kind of worth thinking about?
Yeah, so I want to talk to you about affordability. And the two things to consider is home prices and interest rates. But I'll tell you, if you're not buying a house in cash and you're getting financing, interest rates influence affordability way much more than home prices. And Austin and I believe that home prices, are going to continue to rise, I think. So, but let's just be devil's advocate, Austin. Let's say I'm smart. I decided not to buy in 2021. I was going to wait to 2022 because I just thought homes were overpriced and inflated and home prices were going to come down. Let's just say you're right. Well, the only thing we can look at in recent history was the housing crisis.
That's right.
Which happened in 2008, 2009, where the market just tanked. Inventory went to 10 or 12 months. Foreclosures were everywhere. The average single-family home in the U.S., Austin, lost 8% in value.
Yeah, which is a lot. I mean, 8% is a lot, and that was the housing crisis.
Yeah.
No one on planet Earth is projecting a housing crisis. No. And that way, we have a housing crisis in an opposite way right now. There's a massive shortage. So no one's thinking that we're going to have a housing crisis.
No, not at all. Again, we think home prices are going to keep going up over the next year. Yeah. But let's just say you were right, and something like that did happen.
Yeah,
and
this is a bubble, and prices are going to drop.
And you were smart, and you waited. Well, this is the scenario you're likely going to find yourself in if you were getting financing. So,
and if it was as bad as the housing crisis of 08,
it probably won't.
So this is literally like the worst case that we could come up with, 8%.
Exactly. So purchase price. So right now, 2021, this house might be worth $450. Let's say you were smart and waited, which again, we don't think this is going to happen, but let's just say it did. We get an 8% correction next year. The house is worth $414. So you're like, wow, great, I made a great decision.
Hey, my house is almost $40,000 cheaper than it would have been.
Exactly. But again, interest rates influence affordability way more. And so right now, the par rate's close to 3% right now for most loan programs. This is a 30-year. Fannie Mae's already put out projections that by the end of 2022, we're going to be somewhere between 4.25% probably on the par rate. So let's just say rates rise to 4 1/8. And so let's look at that monthly payment, because that's where, when we talk about affordability, what can I buy? What can I afford? Most people live on their monthly budget, Austin, looking at their monthly payments. And so you look at what the monthly payment's going to be on 3% at $350, and this is putting down 20%. So the payment's $15, $18 a month. You might say, well, that's expensive. I want to wait a year to see if home prices come down. Well, they did, which again, we don't think they will, but let's just say you were smart and waited and it had an 8% correction. Your payments went up at $1,605. So
almost $100. Yeah, $87.
So that's the thing where it's like, should we wait or should we buy now? And the vein to look through that is affordability and making a right financial decision. And we know rates are going to rise next year, and our opinions, home prices are going to keep rising.
Yeah, we think both are actually going to get worse, and there's a lot of data and a lot of
so that's why we're
supporting that.
We're big advocates of buying now, and again, we're talking about buying when you're financially ready, when you're emotionally ready, when it's, we're not just telling hey, everybody go buy a house, but if you're asking, hey, I have the means to buy, I want to buy right now, but home prices are crazy, should I wait a year? I would tell you not to wait, Austin.
Yeah. And this definitely supports that. Okay, so then most people live in their home in the Houston area for an average of about 7 years. So look at how that adds up over 7 years. So not only was your house more expensive for you monthly, but over 7 years, that's adding up to over $7,300 more expensive, more that you've paid. And we're not even looking at principal balance on this, and
you're paying more interest.
Where your mortgage balances would be compared to these two after 7 years. But obviously, the numbers speak for themselves. Ironically, $450,000 house right now is cheaper than a hypothetical $414,000 home in a year. But the reality is these are two totally separate houses, because a year from now, this house isn't going to be 414. We think it's going to be 514 maybe. You know, I mean, it's the rate of appreciation right now is through the roof. And really that's the other part of this is there's nothing to indicate that home prices are going to dip. If anything, if more people start putting their homes on the market going into summer and builders start building again, then what we could see is that rate of increase start to slow down. But it's not going to drop until we get into a situation like we were in 08, 09, where there's 10, 12 months of inventory out there and it turns into a buyer's market. Y'all, we are so far from that being even possible because the builders are not building homes at the same pace that they were because guess what? Cost of goods is through the roof. Lumber is up 300% from where it was a year ago.
Yeah.
So it's costing builders more to build the homes than they can sell them for. And so they've had to ratchet back what they're putting out there because they can't make money in this current market. And so that's keeping inventory low. People aren't moving a whole lot yet. And so it's just way more demand than there is supply.
Yeah. So for the last 12 months, we've been singing the same song. You know, it's buy now, do not wait. If you're trying to put yourself in the best financial position.
Yep. And so do we think homes will continue to appreciate at this pace? No, I think we're going to see a slowdown of appreciation.
Effect,
maybe when we get into summer, late summer, early fall. But it's not going to correct. It's going to slow down, you know, that rate of increase. And so if you're looking to figure out, should I buy now or should I wait? Man, you should have listened to our last two videos about this where we said buy now, buy before the election. And then back when COVID was going on, buy during COVID. I mean, COVID's still going on. Instagram's going to flag this since I mentioned that. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's gotten a lot more expensive and that's only going to continue, guys. So be smart. If you're in a position to buy now, don't sit on the fence because you think it's going to get better. It's not.
Yep. All right, adios.